Welcome to the PAP Tinox 20-hour review made possible by 4 Winds PPG. Remember that 4 Winds PPG has also donated a NIVIC reserve that y'all can win by going to resurgenceppg.com/donate and donate a minimum of $10 or more. And make sure you hit the box that says write us a comment and write 4 Winds PPG so that way we know you're here for the raffle. The raffle will end on the 26th of November at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll announce the winner the next day, the 27th in the morning, the day before Thanksgiving. So please get your entries in. I'm excited to announce the winner. I hope you guys find this review useful and enjoy the video.
What's up, guys? We're gonna do the Moser 185 on a PAP Tinox frame review. Since it's in here, you guys wanted to know about the ease of assembly. We're gonna open the van up, show you that it can easily fit in the back of my van and just how long it takes to assemble. Figured that was a quick, easy first step to go over in the review. So, standard minivan. I got the PAP right here, and these are the frame cage pieces. Simply just bungee this guy. Bring her on out like that. And as you can see, I mean, the seats, if I didn't have a ton of stuff in the seats, you could still put a lot of people in the van. So this is the frame bag that the PAP comes with. It's just 4 pieces. Super easy to assemble. You can get it in there, and then you just put this piece in right there, just like that. And if you're good at lining up these little snaps, then it's pretty quick. I timed the disassembly one time. It took me under a minute. The assembly is not much different time-wise. And the last piece, boom. So they're all snapped in, and now you just kind of start putting it together. So there's probably one that's better to start with, like the top one, but I'm not a pro. Then you snap these pieces each time. This guy, this kind of slides in and out right here. If you could show this little piece. So this piece kind of slides like that, slides in and out. So when you get to this part, sometimes you gotta bring that in and out to work, but that came together pretty easily. So once they're all snapped, you tighten just the bottom cage nets, and then these are pretty much where I leave them all the time. I loosen this every time I take it apart to make it easier. There's that. And then the last thing for the hoop, you got this little button press right here. Pull that off, pull up the pull start, drop it right in there, and then just like that. So really easy assembly. It's been great for me in Korea because I have a small van. So comes with these prop covers. Oh, let's wait.
And interruption number 1. You want to get this guy taken off at all or anything?
Yeah, get it. I like how the helmet is in his hand and not on his head. So these prop covers come with it. They have this strap on the end of it. I'm not exactly sure what it's for. Maybe it's like if you start your paramotor with a clutch, a safety feature, but it's there. So the harness has these bungee straps with D-rings on the end that kind of help to hold it up inside my van or wherever. And I do a front mount harness. For people like Woody that carry around 2 reserves, this is a great harness for that because you can put a reserve on this side and this side, which is convenient. And I never use this. It's called a torque strap. It comes with the frame, but basically I forget which side it goes to. but it's to get rid of that torque effect. So it's probably from like this to one of the sides of the legs over here, and you just tighten it, and it helps with torque compensation. But I took it off because it's one too many straps for me. Starting here, the tachometer's inside here. As you can see, I'm at 20.5 hours, hence the 20-hour review. I just hit 20.5. And you got your reserve bridle here when you have those reserves in there. This is where you would attach the reserve. This helps with clean routing, and your bridle follows all the way down here to where you have your reserve. There. So you got your standard chest strap and then a waist strap, and from the leg strap you have the safety strap that clips in to your waist strap. That comes from the leg. It's like one extra strap than most paramotor harnesses. I have this extra carabiner on there, so when I'm using my cruise control, I can just kind of clip it there and forget about it. There's your speed bar stowage area, and here's the airbag, which is a really interesting addition for paramotor harnesses. You don't see this very often, but it's kind of like a crumple zone. You know, you land on the airbag and hopefully you won't bend the metal as much. I think it's really cool. I like that feature. Hopefully I never have to use it. And then your standard speed bar thingamajig's right there. And then coming up this side, you have a cell phone pocket or a radio pocket. I really like this. I put my cell phone in here a lot, and I use this lanyard to go to my phone. So when I take the phone out, if I were to drop it, you know, it's not going to fall on anyone and hurt them. This is the iPhone 8 Plus. This is Todd's. He's holding the camera. It's pretty big. So just to show you what you can fit in here, slides in pretty easy. You have to give it a pretty good push for these bigger phones, but then you got this long Velcro strap. We'll see if we can make it fit. And barely, but honestly, when I fly with my Galaxy S10, I don't even Velcro it, and this thing doesn't go anywhere. And even if it did, I've got this lanyard connected to my phone. So here's the Galaxy S10 for anyone who has that. And I put it in like this. It's a lot more slimmer than that phone. And I have a little handy dandy thing you can get on Amazon. I'll try to remember to put it in the description or something. But the Galaxy S10 goes in there nice and neat. And here's what happens if you drop it while flying. You don't lose it and you don't hurt anyone. So that's just one of my little techniques to install that. And then this guy goes to the pull start, which is great. You know, if your engine cuts off, if you shut it off in flight, you can pretty easily find your pull start. This harness is bolted in right here, which is cool, nice and secure. I like that. And then they also have more padding right here. So I think the padding is kind of zipped into the harness right here, but it is super thick, as you can see right there, which is nice to have. The harness is easy to get in and out of. At first, for me, I did have to put a brake away and scoop the harness under my butt, but it's because I had the leg straps too loose. So Lauren recommended that you have the leg straps really tight, and that helped me out in that area. So I mentioned the cruise control. If you want to be like half power and just hold that in, tighten that knob right there, and you don't have to hold it for your whole flight. And I've really used that a lot and kind of just set the throttle in my lap, or like I was saying, connected the throttle here rather than just laying it in my lap, so that way I'm positive it's not going to fall back and get in the prop or anything. But I really like this throttle as well, because I like simple throttles. I don't like bulky ones. It's longer than this when you get it, and I didn't like that for what I'm used to, so I actually carved that down a little bit so that way I could use my two top fingers for the brake handle. You might like that and leave it, it's up to you. And this is a right hand throttle, which I'm used to left hand, but I've gotten used to right. But the PAP, you can put it on the right side or the left side. If you come over here, you'll as you can see, it bolts in nice. The routing's really clean. But if you come over to the left side, if you want a left side throttle, it's no problem, because you can get it either way. All right, lots of questions on the swing arms, because they're different than what most people have in the US, I think. These are straight arm swing arms. As you can see, there is a little bit of an offset right here for torque compensation. This one also comes this direction because this motor torques right, so these guys come out to the left. And then this, I think, is called the ATS system. And honestly, I'm not exactly sure what it's for. When you buy it, it does not come already attached. You have to bolt these guys in, and then you Loctite them, and the strap comes through here to your carabiner. Judson, I think, asked about if the paramotor frame is floppy because of this, due to the connection points being a little further away from the swing arms, and I haven't noticed anything. It's been fine for me. The connection point right here, these bolts are apparently a lot beefier than other paramotor bolts, which is great for like acro and just strength overall. They're pretty thick, and I've flown this for 20 hours and I haven't had to adjust them yet. There's no side to side play. They've been great for me. And then over here, you've also got a spacer for torque compensation. Another question was comfort with these straight arm bars, because the gooseneck bars I guess would allow your arms not to hit as much, but I haven't noticed any discomfort from these. My arms don't rest up against them and get uncomfortable, so I think they're comfortable. Oh yeah, one extra benefit of a straight arm is packing this in my van. They go all the way back, and if you have a goose arm, they're not going to do that. So this arm sits in further than the harness itself, so it's really great for transporting. Like any paramotor, it torques. It has more power than my Nitro 200 did, so it torques more than my Nitro 200. I guess what I'm trying to say about torque compensation is I haven't had enough experience on other motors to make great comparisons, but it's definitely noticeable, and you have to make corrections with your leg or a brake or something, but it's not a deal breaker for me, and I don't mind it at all. I'm just gonna kind of go over some questions that were asked. So pull start location and ease. Obviously it's located right here. I think that's a pretty good spot. Over your shoulder and high, it makes starting pretty easy, and this is a really strong connection point, and it's really easy to grab and flight due to the spongy cord. Easy to get in harness on takeoff, straight up stance on landing. On landing, the straight up stance kind of comes from how you adjust your hang points. On the Nitro, I was a little hung back, and I kind of like that feeling, but you know, if you want to come more forward, of course you can just adjust this back and forth as you need to. And yeah, it's easy to get in the harness on takeoff as long as you've got the leg straps adjusted accordingly. Someone said, how easy is it to fix? I haven't broken anything, thankfully, but PAP is a big brand, so I imagine it would be pretty easy to fix it and find replacement parts. And I haven't had any issues with my Moster, so I can't really tell you how easy it is to fix quite yet. Wait a second on that. Frame materials. So this hoop right here is all titanium, and the main frame that you see right here that it goes into, that's steel, so it kind of gives you a strong foundation right there. And this, I'm not really sure what these strings are, but we'll call them strings. They're strong enough in my opinion, and you can tighten it even more than that. Frame rigidity, someone asked that for power forwards. I think it's average. It's like most paramotors out there now. I don't recommend like a super duper power forward, and if you do, have good form, you know, upright, crotch out if you will, and if you lean too hard into it on a power forward, yeah, most paramotors, or a lot, you're gonna have issues flexing into the prop, but pretty strong in my opinion. Can two people fit for Mile High Club? Yes, a lot of people tandem on this. Matt Minyard, I've seen him do tandems on this all the time. You just have to get the right additions to make this tandem. So tandem wing, spreader bars, correct reserve and everything. Yes, I'm sure it would be good for the Mile High Club. Someone asked 2.87 versus 2.68 reduction, and I'm sorry, I can't help you out on that one. Noisiness, it's a 2-blade carbon fiber prop, makes as much noise as any other one, I guess. But you know, if you get like a 3-blade or something, which does fit on these guys, that might cut down on noise a little bit. Fuel efficiency, that's one thing I've been joking around with Todd, I've had this fuel in the tank for like 5 flights. I've been trying to get rid of this fuel because it's been in there for a while. I believe it's fuel efficient. You know, I've only been flying it 20 hours, so I like its fuel efficiency, but that also comes down to your wing size and wing loading, but I've liked what I've seen so far. Do I take precautions on this muffler? Yes, I do, and that would just be what they've been talking about with a slow warm up. So I will put this on my back, start it, and I will let the motor warm up on my back while I'm setting up my wing or preparing in some sort of way for the flight. And I haven't had any issues yet, and fingers crossed, hopefully I don't. This is the MY19 with the 4 springs. Do girls think it's sexy when I fly by? I have no idea. There's your answer. Vibration was a question. A lot of people talk about how the nitro has a lot of vibration, and I did notice that. I would say this has less vibration, but it still has a good amount. And once again, I don't mind it. It's not like making my vision blurry, which would sometimes happen with the nitro, but you kind of learn where to put your back and that won't happen. So it's not too bad on this guy. There are 7 motors that attach to this PAP Tinox frame. The Atom 80, Safari 125, Thor 130, Moster 185 plus MY19, which is this particular one, Moster 185 dual MY19, Thor 200 HF, and the Thor 250, and that's coming straight from PAP's website, the available engines for this particular frame. Netting, that's a big one for this guy because there's obviously some gaps in it. So there's a particular way that you want to hold this throttle, and some people will be like, well, why do you have to hold the throttle that way? Why not make the netting safer? And I don't know, I can't tell you that. But when you use this, you want to have the throttle cable over your arm. And I think there was a point in the paramotor world where everyone started to do that no matter the cage, even if there was better netting, because it can still happen. So always over, and there's no danger of this going through. This is a stiff attachment point right here. This isn't a super long cable, and I've never had issues. I don't know of anyone having issues with this particular frame. I personally think it looks good, but I would like to see this closer, because I think you could still get the same disassembly time with something closer, but it's not a deal breaker for me. And this part is pretty small, and this part's bigger, but it's kind of further away from the prop. I know a lot of people been asking about that, and I don't know of anybody hurting themselves on this particular frame. I think it looks cool, but yeah, maybe something covering the gap could be a little better. Safety features. The one thing I think about on safety features on this first is the airbag. Obviously, if you're gonna have a butt landing, this thing stays inflated in flight, and coming from paragliding, I know airbags work. I've watched them work for people on very hard landings. I haven't had hard landings on my butt yet. I've had my fair share of tree landings, but not butt landings, but I've seen these work. Another thing is this burly bolt here for safety. It's pretty darn big compared to others I've heard, so that's really important, since we've been seeing some bolts shearing, which is rare, but that's good to keep in mind if you're worried about something like that. Distance from prop to cage might have been something in their design features for safety. There's a pretty big gap here, so if you are power forwarding, and I'm pushing pretty good, you know, it's still pretty far away. And with this, I think 125, even if you were to flex close, it's not going to touch this first. It would be somewhere around here. So you've got a pretty good gap there for power forwards. I remember these coming off for some people, and this guy is super strong on the carburetor, and then it's got this little divot right here. I don't know what you would call that. It pops into and secures it even more right there. And I always thought it was pretty tight. Let's give it a little lift. See, I'm picking up my paramotor. I popped that guy out, but it took a lot of pull. I think the part that really matters is where it's connected on the carburetor, and you know, you can pull pretty hard on it and it's not moving. I'm pretty happy with that. I don't know if this is a very talked about safety feature, but if your swing arm happens to break off here, your carabiner is still attached to a solid strap that is attached to your seat. So you're not completely reliant on that bolt right there. This actually reminds you to put it on your leg straps. So when you're going to connect the waist strap, it won't come together unless you pull up this piece right here, which reminds you, oh, I haven't done my leg straps yet. So that's a safety feature, so you're not trying to launch without your leg straps, which can be pretty embarrassing. Maybe a safety feature to consider is that this the harness is bolted in there nice and strong, so with washers, so you want to expect this to really move around or come off that easily. And then of course reserves are safety, so the reserve bridling is great, and you've got area for 2 reserves. How comfortable during longer flights? Most of my flights have been short lately, but like when I flew to the islands, I thought it was very comfortable. Just hanging out, sitting in the seat, in cruise control, hands off, just hanging out, using my phone for navigation. I think it's very comfortable. Good padded harness. You can extend the seat board out for your legs and weight shifting. It's got good weight shift capability. I like the comfortability of it. So if that's what you're looking for in this motor, I think it's great for comfort. Somebody asked me about the blow-up doll. Does it come with a blow-up doll? Nope, that was only in the Nitro 200. Sorry guys. Wait, let's get the scale out. Testing out the scale, we brought out the plywood so it's accurate. I weigh 165. I haven't done this yet. I'm actually kind of excited to see how heavy it is. Oh, I got my reserve on there. Let me take the reserve off so it's a little more accurate. I don't know how much that guy weighs either. Get this level.
How hard is it to take the fuel off too?
How much fuel do you think's in there? Maybe a gallon? You guys can guess how much fuel is in there, but we'll get on there and measure. So 165 was just me. 228, so 35 plus 28. Math and science says I'm gonna say 63 pounds.
So, yeah, 53 to make it up to 200 pounds, and then from 200 pounds to what?
We're having a hard time here.
Let's do this again.
160. This is how I would do it. I'd be like, all right, 35 plus 28, 33, 63 pounds.
That's why we're Army aviators, not Air Force pilots.
Exactly. So 63 pounds with this much fuel. I don't think that's that bad.
No, that's probably a good maybe 5 pounds of gas.
Yeah,
I'd say.
and I think what helps as well is this harness is pretty wide right here, so it distributes the weight. Imagine if you had tiny spaghetti straps, it'd be really painful. So it's not bad on weight. It's cool to know. Price obviously is a big question. This motor right here I got from 4 Winds PPG, Lauren and Shannon Michaels down in Central Florida. It is $7,450 for shipment. It's about $160 to most places in the US. So that leads me to the question about customer service. Well, if you buy it from a flight school like those guys, that's where your customer service is going to start, and they are really good about customer service. I mean, they shipped this thing all the way across the world for me. Took it to the post office multiple times because you have to have a certain weight when sending to a PO box, APO, and they didn't allow them to send it once. They took it back, put them in different boxes, brought it to the post office. I don't think it worked that time. So 3 tries shipping this and they got it to me. That just shows you how nice they are. Thank you, 4 Winds. Great customer service. It all depends on where you buy your motor from, and they are very responsive. We're on to the final thing here. I want to show you guys how to prime it and start it. There's a technique to these, I think they're called flash starters. I'm not a professional with the Moster 185 quite yet. There's a technique with them that I haven't mastered yet. So we'll see how many pulls it takes, but I was told about a 1/4 bulb of fuel. So push this button and a 1/4 bulb, which I can't really tell because the fuel's already at the carb, so I couldn't see it go in. I'm gonna see how many times it takes to pull start. And remember, on your back, or I always put it on my left shoulder. And remember, on your back or in the rack, they say. Hopefully I can show you the best me on starting this. We'll see.
Easy access.
What?
Easy access.
Yeah. Still working on the best technique. Kind of have to get the piston in the right spot. I'm not an expert, but it usually starts pretty easily. Sometimes I get it on one pull, sometimes 4. And I like the kill start a lot. It's nice and protruding, so you can always get to it. That's how to start it, prime it, I guess. You know, everyone has their opinions on how much fuel you put in there. I don't know the right answer. Going with about a 1/4 bulb. As you saw, what I thought was a 1/4 bulb, got it started in 4 pulls. Who knows? Still working on it. Only 20 hours in, but thank you for joining in on this review of 20.5 hours on Moster 185 MY19 PAP Tinox frame from 4 Winds PPG. It's been super reliable. My favorite paramotor I've ever owned. And I hope this was helpful for you. Thanks, Todd, for filming.
Yup.
And see you guys on the next video. We're gonna see how long it takes me to break this down. I'm gonna start a timer, and then we'll start it at maybe 15 seconds. So this is me taking it off my back, getting ready to put it away. We're currently at 12 seconds, 13. All right, let's go. That's 2 cage pieces. Should go right there. It's kind of dark too, so I'm at a disadvantage here, guys. Cage pieces are off. See how fast I am at working this zipper right here. What time are we at?
57 seconds.
So 57 seconds.
Minus the 15.
Minus the 15 to get the cage pieces off. So that's how long it takes to break that part down. Lay the arms flat, D-ring, flat arms. Struggling. Throw that in there. Hydraulics don't work when it gets colder.
I got your door.
And depending on how big your vehicle is how fast you can get it in. But there you go. What time we at? We're at 140. We'll call it 140. Boom. So that's about a minute and 25 seconds to break down the cage and get it in there. And I guess I left this out, but kind of gives you a good idea how long it takes to take the cage apart. That's the most important part. How long did that take? We were at like a minute.
I'd say a solid minute 30 once you would have got that bag in there.
So, but to get the cage off and in the bag was about 45 seconds.
Oh yeah.
That's not bad. So that's why I like it. Putting it in the van every single time I go to fly. It's nice and quick.